Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul. My virtual obsession, my romantic thriller, is now available on Amazon and other online retailers. This book explores the intersection of loneliness, love, and how chasing perfection through technology can lead to fantasy and reality colliding. My virtual obsession out now.
Hey everyone, it's Catherine Crestani here with another episode of Willow Healing Matters, and today I am joined by Sallyann Joy. So she will tell you that she never felt that she ever really fitted in here. She journeyed through life searching for meaning and understanding, studying various healing modalities until she finally realized she did not come here to fit in. She came here to learn, grow, and remember, and to support others to do the same. Sallyann holds space for sensitive souls, empaths, and seekers to return to the truth of who they really are, beyond the stories, the pain, and the patterns. Her work is intuitive, energetic, and heart-led. Sallyann will also tell you it's not about surface-level healing. It's about assisting people to remember the truth of who they really are and why they are here. When people are able to tap into their true inner wisdom, that is a total game changer, and people become empowered. She is an accredited quantum and universal consciousness facilitator with the Institute of Quantum Consciousness. She is also a qualified counselor, Reiki master, accredited meditation teacher, and an energy healing practitioner. She combines her training, lived experience, and intuitive guidance to assist others to remember who they truly are so they can be guided by their own unique wisdom to live the life they came here to live. Sallyann supports people in uncovering the essence of who they are, beyond thoughts, fears, and limitations, and to coming home to themselves. So a big welcome to the show, Sallyann.
Thank you, Catherine. It's really wonderful to be here today. Thank you for inviting me.
And I know that there's a special thing that we're going to talk about today, which is this beautiful offering that you've created called the Circle of Light. So do you want to share, first of all, a little bit about your journey to becoming who you are? And then the second part of that question is how the Circle of Light came into being.
Thank you, Catherine. I'd love to. Going back, I don't know how far we want to go back, but when I was born, I was born vision impaired, and this is something I chose before I came in. And so I had a bit of a rough time earlier on in my life, had a pretty tricky time at school, and as kids do, being teased by kids, and had a pretty rough time going through school, which caused me very much to shut down at the time, to shut down my light, to shut down who I was, and just to become very, very I can't think of the word at the moment, but just very within myself. And I was very much an introvert. I was one of these kids that was sort of seen and not heard, and preferably not seen, really. And then a whole series of events happened through my life, including getting myself, because I had low self-esteem, getting myself into an abusive relationship with somebody that was exceptionally narcissistic, and eventually got out of that, though it took me quite a while, to gain my confidence. But I slowly but surely started to realize that I was way more empowered than I realized. Like my energy was being sucked by my own thoughts, firstly, in putting myself down, the conditioning of the beliefs I took on as a child of putting myself down, that I was less than. I thought because of my disability that I was less than on some level. So I put myself down and I put restrictions on myself. And then, of course, I married somebody, as we do, that just reinforced that. And anyway, eventually I started to realize that this is not who I am. And there was so much more to me than I realized. And just pausing for a minute, I wonder how many people have felt the same way. There is so much more to us than our beliefs. Our beliefs and societal conditioning tend to keep us small and keep us sort of locked up in restrictions. But anyway, I eventually left that old worn out marriage. And then I'd always had an interest in all things spiritual. I remember as a very small child being afraid of the dark. And I now realize that was because I had a memory of light. So when I left my marriage, left my relationship, I started delving into all things spiritual. I very quickly studied Reiki, various other healing modalities along the way. And I went on to, at that stage, train and become qualified as a counsellor. In 1 year, I suppose you could call it what they say, semi-trailer year or whatever. In 1 year, I had a lot of loss in my family. And that was the same year the marriage ended. So I actually developed a particular interest in grief counselling. From there, I branched out into the spiritual side of it and got really interested in studying near-death experiences along with doing Reiki. Whole lot of things I was doing along the way. And little bit by little bit, I got my power back. And I started to realize there is so much more than I realized. And so I became passionate about anything spiritual that I could possibly do. And over time, I became a bit hard to, and I'm trying to find the words here, interested in healing with the light. Like I went on and I became a Reiki master. And then one day I actually had a bad fall. I was out in the street and I had a bad fall. I went to give myself Reiki and I got this booming voice in my head and it said to me, heal with the light. Now, I could not walk. I was sitting in the gutter and I could not walk at all. And heal with the light. And I put hands over my knee and I channeled the light through. And just after a very small number of minutes of sitting in the gutter, I got up and walked. I was outside my house, walked to the house. And I could tell you lots of stories early on called heart resonance therapy, and that is bringing energy through the heart and out down the hands and healing that way. So then, went on, did a lot of work with the light. And so when I do any hands-on healing now, I use the light and a combination of light and Reiki. But answering your question, I've long roundabout way of answering your question, Catherine.
You're okay.
And fairly recently, I was guided to set up what I call circles of light. Now, the circles of light that I run are once a fortnight on a Saturday morning at 8 o'clock Sydney time. And with the circles of light, they're a place for like-minded people to come together, a supportive, safe environment. And my goal is they're totally free of charge. It's a service I offer to humanity to help people remember their light. Because while slowly over the years and things that happen, I now understand I came through from the light, and so did you, to help people remember the light and just to validate and acknowledge what beautiful souls you are, and just in that safe, supportive environment.
Yeah.
So hence the circles of light.
Which is beautiful. And I love that you use the light to do healing as well. So I've had different versions of that come through because I often do theta healing where I tap into God consciousness and command the healing to happen. And when I first used it, like you said, when you were laying in the gutter, I got up one night because my son woke up and I was going to go check on him. And I forgot there's a doorstop on our floor in our bedroom and it's metal. And I actually hit it with my foot and I heard the crack. Like I'd pretty much broken my ankle. And I went, nope, cancel. And I went up and I did my theta healing and I just hurt. And then my foot went, and it was like just all I had the next day was a bruise. And I was like, I know that was broken, but it wasn't broken because I wouldn't let it come into that reality. And this is when we work with light and these frequencies, you can shift things. It's not, we're not limited to this matrix and the impressions that we think that we're stuck in as well.
No, we're not. And we just need to realize that we're not, and we're way more powerful than we realize, way more powerful than we have ever been told. It's just we have forgotten just how powerful we are. And if we can shift out of this human disguise and realize we are multidimensional beings and we are here to make a difference, and we're here to work collaboratively with one another, support one another, and for the healing of all we connect with. And
exactly.
done in such little ways, like even smiling at somebody in the street. It doesn't have to be anything grand.
No, and it can be as simple as holding the door open for somebody or waiting, holding the lift when you see someone running or walking urgently towards it, so they
Yeah.
don't have to wait. And, we call them acts of kindness, but they should just be a way of being. Like that's just
Yes.
how you show up rather than I'm choosing to do this to get some karma or some rebalance. No, you just choose to be that way. And, the universe always will balance things out. You don't have to worry about that. You just have to move from your heart.
Yeah. Yeah, live from the heart. And according to the Heart Math Institute, if we in our heart breathe into our heart, and if we're in heart coherence, just and breathing into the heart and sending that beautiful love energy out and filling our body and the cells in our body with that beautiful energy. If we do that for a minimum of 3 minutes, the effects of that can last up to 6 hours, which is pretty mind-blowing. So we can do that, and we can just be aware of breathing in and sending out love through our heart, and we can then send that out into our energy field. This is one of the techniques we do in our circles of light. I teach people how to do that. Send that out into our energy field, and then our energy field bumps against somebody else's energy field, and that energy can flow onto them. And it's sort of like this love and light flows onto others and from them to others and others, and that flow on effect. And we are just little things like that. We are so more powerful than we realize.
Yeah, it's that whole butterfly effect, right? Like you can't
Yeah.
realize how just flapping your wings, or in this case, shining your light, can have that massive ripple effect and or snowball effect even, it gets bigger and
Yeah.
bigger and bigger, and you don't
Yeah.
realize how far it actually does reach.
Yeah, it's actually, I suppose, to get a bit technical, it works on the law of entrainment. Entrainment says the most dominant energy wins, pretty much. And so lower vibrations will entrain to the most dominant ones. So people will either come into that or they'll get the hell out of there because it irritates them. One of the two. I mean, we can probably, many of us anyway, can relate to that in situations with maybe family members or people we know. If they're uncomfortable with work you might be doing, they might sort of distance themselves a little bit. Yeah, and that's because at that point in time, they don't want to come into sync with that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I say to people, when you start to go through this, I don't like using the word awakening because I feel it's been a little bit hijacked, but when you start to go through these frequency shifts, there we go, these frequency shifts, as you step up higher, you are a light and you can attract moths and you can attract other people. And some
Mm.
people will try and feed off that light and pull you back down because they're not sure what to do in that moment.
Yeah,
But that's your lesson to help you expand as well of how to stay neutral in that, but also realizing when you outgrow situations, when you outgrow people, when you outgrow scenarios in your life, like you were sharing with your story about realizing how much power you actually had and how much energy you had, and finally were able to step away from your ex-husband. It's just, how you can really capitalize on that. And it was when I started going through my journey, I realized couldn't relate to my staff anymore. And I'm just
mm,
sitting there going, I can't even sit in this space for like, so if I went into the lunchroom when we're all having lunch, because we made it like a kind of a nice little meeting kind of time. If
yeah,
I was the first one in there, the conversations would always be set at a higher energy, a higher kind of tone,
yeah,
bigger things. But if I came in later, it'd be talking about reality TV and things that I couldn't even participate in. I'm like, I can't even entertain this. And I just turn and leave and walk back out again because it's you picking your energy and picking where you want it to go and how you want it to show up.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's so much more than the verbal dialogue going on. There's so much energetic going on all the time. And just if we can start to become aware of that and just feel that there's more. What do they say? I think the spoken word is at about 7%, is it, of communication, or I can't, it's something low anyway, like that. And the rest is a whole lot of energetic, facial gestures, tone, whatever. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. It is. And it's about being aware of that and putting yourself in that energy as well, because it's the more you take care of your energy, the more you protect your energy. And this is the thing, I actually run a class called Protect and Deflect. But the more you protect your energy, and not from a fearful point of view, but it's like, actually, no, this is what I want in my field. This is what I don't anymore. And I know from your work as like doing your quantum healing and working with the consciousness and everything, it's such an important thing to discern and start to learn how to have that spiritual hygiene and look after your energy, because that is why we're here as humans, I believe, to learn how to master that and master being these powerful, energetic goddesses, warriors, heroes, whatever you want to resonate with, and showing up in this world where you can shine your light and not get pulled into every other drama that comes your way at the same time.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you end up a bit like a rag doll being pulled in all directions, and you're pulled all over the place, and then you get totally knocked about physically and energetically, and you're no use to yourself or anybody else. And so it's not about being selfish. It's about energetic discernment, looking after yourself and being firm in caring for yourself so you can then give to others. It's like when you hop on an airplane, they say, fit your oxygen mask first before you assist anybody else, because basically if you're dead on the floor, you're no good to anybody, really.
I got a similar message, I think it was last year, and I was doing like all this I can't even think of the word now. I'm not even meant to. But anyway, I was doing all this work and I was fighting all these battles, and then my guides just went, "Stop running into the fire. Let the fire come to you."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Your house will burn down because you're too busy fighting everybody else's fires rather than looking after your own home. You need to come back to you and everything else will be fine." Like you said, then you radiate that love and that energy, and that will help them rather than being dropped on the floor.
Yeah, good advice. Very good advice. But when we're caring, heart-based people, sometimes it's really hard. We sometimes need those gentle reminders from our guides to remind us of that. And they do it in various ways sometimes.
My favorite is I'll get a message and it's like, "Do not engage." I'm like, "Okay, do not engage." And my husband and I have this running joke when we're with family, because we find family can be the most triggering, right? And they'll be having this conversation and you'll go to participate, and then my husband will go, "Do not engage." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. Stay neutral, stay neutral." And then my husband will go to participate. I'm like, "Do not engage." He's like, "Oh yep, 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 yep." It's nice when you can find those people around you to keep you energetically accountable too, because it's easy to get pulled in to the different fields of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to ask more about what it means that you're an accredited quantum and universal consciousness facilitator. What does that actually mean, apart from sounding really cool?
It is really cool. Trust me, it's really cool. Gosh, stepping back quite a bit. Quantum consciousness is modality is not really the right word. But anyway, it was put together, created by a fellow called Pete Smith. Pete Smith originally came from a corporate background, and then he decided high stress job. So he started studying other things, and he studied hypnotherapy, and then he was studying hypnotherapy, and then he found a book written by Michael Newton of the Michael Newton Institute and was fascinated by that and contacted Michael Newton and ended up actually in the States working with the Michael Newton Institute and was president of that for 10 years. For those that don't know Michael Newton was an American doctor of psychology or psychiatry, can't remember which, that started working with clients way back in the 60s and 70s, assisting clients. And the clients were starting to dip in between into past lives or life in between lives. And it was discovered that profound healing could happen in these states when they did that. And Michael Newton documented, I think it was something like over 7,000 cases before he went public with this work, because just imagine the 60s and 70s. But he was having profound results. Anyway, Pete Smith got involved with the Michael Newton Institute, as I said, and then Pete went on and had an interest in quantum physics and consciousness. And so quantum consciousness is applying the principles of quantum physics, like the holographic universe where everything's the small is the same as the large, entanglement effect, the exerber effect, and then bringing in consciousness, which is the fabric of the universe. So you've got the quantum aspect, the science of the universe, bringing in the fabric of the universe. Instead of regressing people down like you would with hypnotherapy, quantum consciousness, it takes people straight out of their bodies, so straight out into the universe. And so people working with their consciousness and applying the principles of quantum physics are able to connect with other aspects of themselves and heal something once. Instant healing. If you heal one aspect, it flows through to all your other selves, all your other realities, a ripple effect as that entangles through to all your other selves and heals in other realities at the same time. So I suppose, to give you a very personal example of that, I came across Pete's work. I actually saw him on somebody else's podcast a couple of years ago, and I was hooked because I'd been interested in the past life stuff and the life between life stuff, and I'd read all Michael Newton's books to that point, and I was very interested in Michael Newton's past life work. And so I heard Pete on another podcast, and I was hooked, and I contacted him, and I had a personal session with Pete Smith. And in that one session, major thing with a trauma for me was healed, and that's something I'd been working on for years and never came back. That was done, dusted, totally gone. This work, I thought, this is absolutely amazing. And I was also able to connect with other aspects of myself at the same time. And that brought through great clarity and great healing for me. And I came to understand without any shadow of a doubt that there was so much more to me than in the physical. As the universe works, he had a training course starting 2 weeks later, and I was in. And so I studied quantum consciousness. And then the following year, I went on to the longer course, which is universal consciousness. And there are many, many different modalities of study where people can go out and work on all sorts of things. Like with this work, you can actually entangle with a future version of yourself, a more highly evolved version of yourself, and bring forward that wisdom and that guidance to utilize in the here and now. We can connect with the body water in our body and program the water in our body with beautiful, beautiful healing things such as love, grace, and gratitude. And we can actually talk to the water in our bodies. We can connect. That one particular journey we do is great for empaths because we can actually go back in this particular journey to pre-birth before somebody is born. And we can instill protocols that are very helpful for empaths, not to take on other people's stuff, not to absorb other energies, energetic discernment. And we can then reprogram the baby, when, fetus before it's born, to bring those empowering protocols and wash back through their current life up until their present age now. And this can firstly give profound healing because we actually can pick up trauma from in utero even before we're born. So it can bring forward profound healing on that. And it can also bring forward family healing right through life. And it's just, and then you have the strategies as you move forward through your life as well. We have another journey where we can actually work with people that might have an emotional or a physical disharmony in the body called vibrational echoes, where we can actually speak to that part that has been impacted and work with that part and help that part heal and give energy to what that part's needing and bring forward the understanding and the healing where that part needs to assist in physical or emotional healing. There are also many people here at the moment that are exceptionally homesick, very homesick. So we can actually assist them in going through a portal to connect to their cosmic home, to open that connection if they're open to it, if that's what they're ready to do, and then bring forward that healing and that wisdom. And if they're open to it and ready for this, that portal can stay open so they can have their connection to a cosmic home. There's many journeys. I could go on, but that's probably just a good sample to start off with. But this work has been life-changing for me and for many other people. And I'm so very grateful to Pete Smith and the Institute for Quantum Consciousness, and it is really wonderful work, and it's so needed in these times, I believe.
Yeah, and there's more and more of us who are choosing to incarnate on Earth at this time to not just pull up our popcorn and go, wow, what's happening today? But at the same time, we're here to cause these shifts and this collective awakening. And I know people talk about the 5D, but that's just an understanding of everyone stepping up in frequency to allow us to return to what we were. Like once upon a time on Earth, you could just connect with higher beings like that. There was no, you had to meditate. There was no, you had to step into a ritual or a procedure. But now we need to do those to help our soul remember to come back to who they are. And like you said, we come here, there's a talk where the cycle breakers, because we come here to clear all this karmic stuff that's come down in our ancestral lines, it's come down from our soul lineage, it's come back from our cosmic heritage, whatever it is, whatever element. And you can choose to ignore it because you always have divine will, you always have free will. You can choose to ignore it or you can choose to embrace it and be like me where I just go, okay, I'll jump in. How do I shift that? I'm jumping in. Thank you.
Yeah, good for you. You go, girl. I can relate to that, Catherine. Yeah, and my belief is that even though we may not remember, on some level, we chose to come here. We chose the family situation. We were going to come into the culture, religion, country, whatever. We chose to come in here, and there's a percentage of our soul that's still at home, wherever home may be, but a percentage of our soul chose to come in here to assist humanity. And I just everybody I work with, I just say to them, thank you for your service, because it's a brave soul that chooses to go through the veil of forgetfulness and come into form and do their best to learn, to heal and help the planet heal and to help humanity heal. So thank you to your service, to everybody that's on this call. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you. And one of the most powerful things I learned is to remember that we are a blessing. We are here to bless ourselves, bless others, and we are a blessing in itself. Our presence is simply a blessing being here.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
We are doing way more than we realize.
Especially in our sleep, which could be us being awake or it could be our sleep, but that's a whole other podcast.
Oh, yeah, I look forward to that one.
Oh, dear. What has been, okay, Christine asked this question. What has been like a mind-blowing breakthrough that you've had with the client that you've worked with?
Gosh, mind-blowing. There's been quite a few, a mind-blowing. I was working with a client a while ago that actually was part of the Pleiades, and she went and connected with that and started bringing through all sorts of information. It just came through with such love. Just this information that came through from the Pleiades, and just for me sitting there in awe of this, I think, it was just remarkable because, she was bringing through this information with so much love and talking about their culture and their society with so much love. And the energy wasn't so much what she said, but the energy that came through was they had an outpouring of love for us as humanity, and they're doing whatever they can to support us. And for her, I think she had some inkling, but it was just validation for her to just reinforce that, she is part of that. And what she's doing, she is on her right track, with what she's doing, and she is making a difference, even though sometimes things seem pretty hard.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that so much. That's what they told me to ask. I don't know. I just trust when they say ask these things.
I just try to think of one. It's just, I could rattle on. I had another one that actually connected with the spirit of water and was dialoguing with the spirit of water. I could rattle on. But yeah, it is mind-blowing.
Yes. And I guess it's when you take people out of that limiting belief of what we can achieve based on what we've been conditioned and believed, then that is when you step into that quantum reality.
That's exactly it, because you're stepping out of the human disguise. You're stepping beyond that human disguise, and that's where the healing occurs. And it's not actually, when I said it was mind-blowing, they just corrected me. It's not mind-blowing, it's heart-opening. A whole nother difference. Just that beautiful love and that beautiful energetic connection to that love and that support that is here for us always, if we can just get beyond the physical 3D restriction.
Exactly. 100%. And as we start to finish our time together, Sallyann, I asked the guests that come on the show, if you could heal or change something in the world, what would it be?
Well, this is quite emotional, actually. I could change something in the world or heal something in the world, and I don't quite know how to put this into words, but I would just like everybody to have the awareness that just being opening through our hearts and being aware that we are all one. There's no division. We are one. We are far more powerful than we realize. We are just one whole. And if we work together heart to heart, we can change our circumstances so very quickly.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if people want to come and connect with you, Sallyann, or come work with you, where can they find you?
Well, I have my website is www.sallyanjoy.com. I have my Facebook page, Elevating Consciousness. I've got a book up on Amazon called Rise, A Journey of Love and Healing. And I'm also on Instagram under Elevating Consciousness.
Beautiful. And I'll make sure to pop all those details in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
Everyone can find you. So if you are listening to this episode and you enjoy it, please like, share, or subscribe, because sometimes it's nice when we're doing all this work to be spreading the love and allowing you to spread your light as well. So a big thank you, Sallyann, for joining me and for sharing this powerful way of connecting back with your heart so you can radiate more than what we expect into this world.
Thank you, Catherine, so very much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure and privilege. Thank you.
Are you looking for an afternoon boost to support you until the children go to bed, or to get through that evening meeting? Why not reach for a cup of ceremonial cacao? It will boost your energy, reduce your inflammation, and also allow you to go to sleep at a decent hour. For more information on how to grab your ceremonial cacao, check out the link in the show notes for 10% off. Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.